Well, you named formulas, which I feel like is a lot of the work of Chumpi Illumination itself. So could we talk a little bit about that formula that was first came out in the book? I don't have a copy in front of me at this moment, but we do name it in a Divine Embodiment. But can you talk a little bit about the formula of thought and form and sound?
Right. Another very important teacher in this life was Kriyananda, Goswami Kriyananda. I was fascinated by his tapes at the time. They were mystical tapes. And he
Mm.
combined spirituality, energy with form. Like he combined the physical with the spirituality. It was like real mysticism
Yeah.
that really spoke to me because it had those two pieces to it. And in one of his old, this came up as I was working with the Chumpies as well, to put forms around us that replicated energy in the universe,
Mm.
the forms of a plant, of a
Mhm.
tree, of a star, different basic shapes. So sacred geometry came into play. So to sit in a form and then have a thought and then put a sound. You have to have a sound because the sound gets your mind out of the thinking, what am I doing? Am I going to get anything? And it could be any sound I have. Like I always have a bowl next to me, or a
Mm.
bell, or a rattle, or some obscure sound, whistle. And so the form sort of solidified that we were in a place, in a sacred place. The sound gets us out of our head, thinking about what are we doing this right, and the intention is there with thought, and that
Let's talk about the thought a little more and where you get that idea, how that comes in.
yeah. So that's where kinesiology came in, because asking the body a question is like us googling something on the internet, you know. And so I have lists of words, and it's an extensive list. And so I can put together, say, a verb and a subject quite easily by going down the list and letting the body speak to me and say, that's the right word for now.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
there's not one perfect word, it's just
Yeah.
in the scheme of thousands of possibilities. Let's do this with this form. Let's capture this moment with the thought, the form, and the sound. And I'm telling you, like the work that I did when I only did health kinesiology just accelerated because it used to be like you went to your acupuncturist and chiropractor to do the physical work. You went to a naturopath to do the vitamin supplements. And then you went to your spiritual teacher to do the meditation. This is everything put together in one session, right?
Mm.
Right. So I got phenomenal results. And also being able to just pinpoint what's the most important thing that we should focus on right now. And the body knows you're tapping into the wisdom in the body and the ability to really stay out of your own head, like, oh, I want this to work. Stay, you know, you're in this non-duality, anything goes space, and the exact word comes up with the form, and you're like, oh, I could have never thought this up. So the body talking to you is amazing.
And that's
I,
so much what you teach as well, because of course you do this in your private practice and you're doing this with clients all the time. But as part of the school, it really becomes the bedrocks of teaching people how to be with, okay, there are many forms, as many as you could imagine in terms of as many shapes in the universe, but there's a set number that often get taught in the early stages of the Sacred Center school. And then introducing people to how to do muscle testing and those first stages of kinesiology to put together questions. And then, of course, you have essentially like a sound library there at the Sacred Center, but it is replicable. Over time, in my years with you, I've built up my little collection of bowls and bells as well when I do the work. But I think just the sense of, as you're naming the expansive possibility, limitless as the languages we speak and as the shapes we can imagine and the sounds that could be conjured, but also it's starting out really simple with just that trinity of thought and form and sound. And there will be some sort of transformation that happens.